Dale, how much excitement is there, bearing in mind how close you went last season to what you can achieve this season?
Oh, tons. I mean, I'm like really excited. I just bumped into one of our new players. He's talking about how he's trying to contain himself with excitement because the team are really gelling. We've got some really talented additions to the squad. We're 5-6 days away from getting started, aren't we? It's a great time of year.
And you had the setback of the stadium plans being turned down over the summer. That seemed to knock you for a little while before you actually then decided, right, let's reapply and let's appeal that. Presumably that's just work ongoing all over again.
Yeah, I think it took overnight, didn't it, for me to kind of get my head around that and say, yeah, I know what we need to do. It's been resubmitted. I think we'll get the decision in October. I'm confident that the council will make the right decision this time, but I'm even more confident that we'll win it on appeal if we have to. So it's more of a bump in the road than a setback, I would say. It's just frustrating to have to do everything the hard way because it's in the local plan for sports use. 12, 18 months from now, it'll be a matter of fact, which is the only real reason that was given for throwing it out. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
I can't remember. Let's ask another question though. Obviously, the locals here don't make the decision, but how are relations with the locals? Because that's kind of one of the reasons why you need to move, that you might not fill this place every week, but the roads around are certainly filled.
They certainly are, aren't they? I think Nailsworth is like anywhere, any group of people. You get different views. There are some people don't want us to leave Nailsworth. I think that's probably the minority position. Majority would be happy to see us go, and not really necessarily for kind of negative or kind of spiteful reasons, but they can see that it'd be good for the club to move. Definitely be good for the roads and for Nailsworth for us to move, and that's a kind of pragmatic thing, isn't it? If you look at our location, if you were starting from scratch, you would never get planning permission for a stadium here. And if you look at the problems we've had, the challenges at junction 13 of the M5 with questions around traffic capacity and stuff like that, it makes it a joke that we have a football stadium here at the top of a 700-800 metre hill that's almost a dead end. It goes nowhere. Say we clog the roads up, we're running out of water, we're running out of power, we've got 150 car parking spaces for a 5,000 capacity stadium, and then ironically again we're forced to have 1,700 car parking spaces at the new ground, and and then some councillors that vote against it say, oh, that's too many car parking spaces, it looks like a big car park. Like, well, we don't want 1,700 car parking spaces. So there's a big contrast between our new place and our old place, and the new place is far more suitable for a football club of this size, and absolutely for the size that we want to be. We want to be in the Championship, so the stadium itself will be expandable and also much more accessible as well. If you think about trying to get here on a match day, it's very tough, and I think that puts a lot of people off, but we'll be much more accessible for home and away fans on junction 13. So that's probably a really long answer, might be longer than you want.
No, it's fine. So presumably the new location would enable you would hope, to grow, as well as obviously the football and now allowing the club to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm certain of it, because the location will be so accessible for people in the north, south, east and west of the county actually. We'll have more parking, we'll have more means of public transport, even turning up on bike. It's a joke to try and cycle up this hill. I mean, it's not a joke if you try it. It's probably life-threatening. But it's flat land out there, so people can cycle along the canal path, walk along the canal path. It'll be so much more accessible in every sense, and visible as well. There'll be a lot of people pass there every day that will know there's a football club there, and we'll definitely grow our audience there for sure.
Have you ever looked at any other sites, bearing in mind, obviously, there's not anywhere I can think of, but is there anywhere else around the Five Valleys? Have you sort of ever thought of going back to those in that sort of that hiatus over the summer?
No. Yes and no. So yes, we looked about 6 years ago. We looked around the district. We did it with the council actually. We looked at 3 or 4 different sites that we thought were feasible at the outset, but they weren't, and then came up with junction 13 really as the only one that was. So if there was a site just over the border, back in June when they turned it down, I might have said, let's go there, let's go to a different district and get a sensible decision. But that would have been just a reaction to the decision. But there are no sites in Stroud that make any sense, that are remotely feasible. I think somebody on the night, a Conservative councillor, said Junction 12 looks good. There's an incinerator there, put it there. But he'd just been told by the highways, county highways people, that Junction 12 had no capacity for extra traffic and they could not take a football ground. So I don't know why he persisted in that view. But this is the illogicality of what we face sometimes.
Gloucester City would be even more unhappy about where you would be going. In terms of,
I hope they build their place soon.
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of this season and Forest Green, what's your feeling? Because obviously, I think every year since David Hockaday's left, the club has progressed each season.
Yeah, and under David Hockaday, to be fair, we progressed. We just hit a kind of glass ceiling, didn't we? We finished 10th a couple of seasons in a row, maybe even 3. I'm not really sure. And that was clearly the end of the road in that respect. But every season we do progress, and that's our aim really. We develop the infrastructure of the club off the pitch, and we try to improve the squad, backroom staff, that kind of stuff. We take steps in sports science and medicine, that kind of stuff. It's all about making ourselves better in as many different ways as we can every season. So it's a kind of it's a progression that's sustainable. When we get to the championship, we'll have built ourselves into a club that's capable of staying there.
Christian Deutsch obviously has gone to Scotland over the summer, and for a lot less money than was on the table, allegedly, last year. How much of a disappointment is that? And is that something that you can try and claw back the difference as part of the action against Bolton?
Yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm happy for Christian. The whole, debacle, I think was more harmful to him than it was to the club. He's got one career, and I think that was, a major blow for him. It was a blow for us, but maybe we're more capable of sustaining it. The behaviour of Bolton, the chairman, actually not the club, but the chairman was just crazily bad. And yes, we are pursuing the club for some of the difference, not all of it, but just some of the difference. Really, it's a calculation that we've made in terms of the reduction in value of the player because, he just had a year left on his contract rather than 2, and his value had been damaged by being transferred and then not really being played and that kind of stuff. But, it's kind of water under the bridge for me. I'm not fussed about it. I hope Christian does really well. I hope Bolton come out of administration soon. They have to do it soon, don't they? And they thrive again as a football club.